Okay. Okay, guys, welcome. I think this is better. Does this look better? Okay, I think it's better. Yeah, that was weird. Okay, guys, so super happy to be with you here. I'm gonna have to edit the videos and put the intro here for you guys, but we will just continue because I am on a little bit of a time crunch. It's wonderful to see you. Let me go ahead and open up my PowerPoint presentation that I want to share with you because there are just some slides I want to share with you about this information. Okay, so we know the Holy Grail as being the chalice of life, and within the Holy Grail, which meant sangreal, was real blood. It was translated as real blood, right? Or it referring to sacred bloodlines through history. Okay, so again, I'm not going to go too deep into this. We can talk for hours about this topic, into the history and intricacies of it. There's so much to talk about, but I'm just going to kind of shorten it into the purpose of our topic today, which is to understand the Holy Grail as the pursuit of our spiritual divine integration of love, as this challenge is speaking to the embodiment of love. Okay, so our DNA becomes activated when we embody profound states of divine connection. And this Holy Grail, the concept of drinking from the waters of life, the water of life being held within the Holy Grail, within the chalice representing the womb, also representing the masculine aspect. It represents the divine feminine, the oracle, the seed of life. And within that chalice is the waters of life, which represent the emotional body. They also represent our blood or our DNA, which is why it was called sangreal, real blood, which means, essentially these bloodlines that were sacred through history. And what it's referring to is essentially Christ conscious bloodlines through history that have activated their DNA in order to access higher bands of frequency, in order to access what we know as Christ consciousness. But essentially, it's the activation of the highest potential of human, which is to embody that Christ consciousness, that higher octave of vibrational frequency. And they talked that there were certain bloodlines that held this, and they are right to speak to that. And it's interesting that that is so rampantly shared through history about the royal bloodlines, because what they were really talking about is the mutation that occurs in our DNA as a result of these heightened states of embodied divinity. And there are many generations and many lores and stories through history, through different kind of ethnic groups around the world and indigenous circles of consciousness that have spoken about how our bloodline changes, it mutates as we begin to access a higher octave of vibrational frequency. Now, this was distorted through history in creating the concept of eugenics. And I'm not going to talk about that in this presentation, but I do talk about it in other presentations. But essentially, thinking about changing DNA or bloodlines in order to create a pure bloodline, which is an illusion, right? There is the only form of purity is the whole state of something in its full authentic form. And of course, when we talk about controlling states of consciousness or controlling states of being, controlling anything outside of its natural form, that kind of manipulation, that kind of change, that kind of control is always the inversion of nature. So that is the opposite of love. That is the opposite of the divine embodiment of intelligence of the organic system of consciousness in which we participate in. So we are not talking about that. What we are talking about is when the human comes into its full authentic potential, it can then harness and embody divine unconditional love. And that embodiment of divine unconditional love is actually this primordial life force that becomes highly conducive. That is actually what produces this mutations in this bloodlines that are able to remember the memory of ancestral bloodlines. Okay, so they're able to remember more. And every new incarnation, every new wave of children that are being born with higher octave vibrational frequency, each time is recovering their memory more, because DNA is a bioelectrical system of information. It is a blueprint of our form, mind, body, soul, but it also is essentially holding on to conductivity. It's a bioelectrical membrane that through the morphogenetic field is read and expressed. Okay, so it produces the form which we emerge from, and it also is inheriting all of the emotional programs that are carried down generations. So ancestral trauma, fears, blockages, as well as higher octave expressions that are handed down ancestral lineage. So that includes intuition, that includes any bloodlines that have had strong interconnections with interdimensional awareness, interdimensional potential. Anytime that we have interdimensional activity, our DNA is being holographically reinforced and expanded, because the organism is processing broader ranges of vibrational frequency, just like in the color spectrum, as we talked about. The color spectrum of the human body is processing just the colors that we can see, right? The colors that we can process in this physical realm. But your entire organism, not just your physical body, but your non-physical aspect within the morphogenetic field, is processing other bands of frequency. Okay, so those higher bands of frequency, essentially, when we have interdimensional awareness and we access interdimensional planes, we are literally accessing those higher bands of frequency in our DNA. So our DNA becomes expanded, it becomes activate. That's why they say activation. In reality, we are just expanding our awareness into the wholeness of our whole self. The whole self is essentially the whole. And the blueprint of DNA is processing the information into the physical body. So the water of life represents the DNA. It represents that activation of the DNA. It is referred to, the water of life is referred to as the fountain of youth, because it is said that when you drink from the chalice, and this is what the stories have written it as, right? And when we look at these stories, we have to understand the symbolic meaning behind it is really profound. There's a lot of esoteric meaning behind that. And these esoteric symbols are not just something that we make up. These are symbols that are collectively integrated into the collective unconscious for, since the beginning of time, because we are talking about how waves of frequency take on form, take on shape, manifest into the physical form. So we're learning to speak the language of vibrational frequency, and for us in this physical and visible realm, it is about how that frequency creates, models a symbol for which we apply a meaning to, and the application of meaning that we apply to it in its most pure form is abstracted from our intuitive connection to that frequency. We are drawing from the intuitive awareness of the form in order to apply a very genuine meaning to that. So this happens through the purification of your mind. You let go of all the distractions, the programming, and when we cultivate the 0 point, your perception becomes very clear, and essentially it aligns with natural cycles of nature, which allow you to discern very clearly where information is being inverted manipulated, changed away from its pure form, from its true state, its most authentic state. And that's something that is cultivated through meditative practice, and also the deprogramming of profound traumas that create strong filters of reality for us. Okay, so when we talk about the waters of life, excuse me. I'm drinking a little water of life myself here. We're talking about the emotional body, right? Because water in a lot of mysticism and esoteric symbology refers to emotions. We're talking about the emotional body. We see that in tarot. When we see the symbolism of water, we know it represents emotions, and the way that that water is being represented, whether it's stormy or dark or cloudy or clear or crystalline or powerful, it represents how we are using the emotion. And, you know, biologically, we are talking about the level of conductivity that we are producing through our body, through our emotions. This is important for us to understand because, again, love and the actual embodiment of love is the strongest conductive state of your human physical body. And the ranges of frequency that your body are able to hold emotions will vary depending on how you are holding emotions in the physical body. Okay, but as you can see in these general charts that are made, that are quite popular, these general charts of emotions, they're, you know, showing the frequency of these emotions. But the way I see the realm is not limited to this, because none of this is really talking about the vibrational frequency of actual pure unconditional love, except perhaps when they're talking about enlightenment, this 700 hertz of frequency. You know, what they're doing here is they're breaking down the emotions in frequency, and they're showing it in the body from the most contracted to expanded state. If we were looking at this form, you know, in its real most accurate expression of that, it would be very different. Okay, it would be you know, the physical body looking like a mixture of colors, which is more accurate because every single chakra is processing different ranges of frequency of these emotions. And that's why when we tune into an emotion and we begin to feel the emotion, we're present with the emotion, there's many sub layers of that emotion that become present. So that's actually how we store emotion in the body. It's not as simplified as just, you know, this emotion is this frequency, this is this. There's many layers, and emotions have many frequencies that are being held in the body in order to memorize it into the muscle system, the nervous system, and then psychologically in the programs that we're running. Okay, so love really includes all of the colors. Okay, so if we remember the spectrum of range of frequency, we know that when white light is refracted, it creates a spectrum of color. And I would love for you to kind of consider that when I'm talking about love in this challenge, I am talking about the white light. So light that includes all the vibrational frequencies, all of the emotions. That is ultimately what love really is. It is never just an affection, because right now our understanding of love is very limited, and we tend to think, when we think of love, we immediately go to ideas of, I don't know, Valentine's Day, your romantic partner, your child, you know, your a little animal or pet. It's these forms of affection that we have cultivated. And I guess the purest form of love is the love of a parent for a child that is unconditional. And as you can see, that love it's a very complex, and this is one of the most beautiful ways that the human learns real love is through the embodiment of, you know, this unconditional love. And of course, as we know, there is no perfect parent that is unconditionally loving in their full expression, you know. So again, every single human on this planet is learning how to love unconditionally. And it's really the whole purpose that drives the work that I do. So that being said, this chalice which holds this bioelectrical conductivity of love is an integration of all emotions in order to embody the white light, this source, this infinite potential. When the human body begins to access that wholeness of itself into whatever dualistic micro expressions you might have, this is when we actually begin to embody alchemy. We learn how to process alchemy through the body. We can transmute a lower emotion into a higher emotion. We can take fear and transmute it into love. We can take separation and transmute it into acceptance. And once we begin to develop the awareness of both those emotions in the body, we begin to balance out the duality in the chakra system and in your organs and in your emotional body. So this essentially begins to deprogram really profound programs of fear, limitation, anger, separation, all of these limiting belief systems that we are cycling through our ancestral lineage. Collective traumas and pains from which we call it the matrix, right? We call it this holographic construct, which is very reinforced by our external system, right? It maintains us in constant state of survival, fear, anxiety all the time, every day, every moment, and seeing everything as separate, right? That's the filter of compartmentalizing this construct, this holographic system. When we compartmentalize, again, we are inverting truth. We are not seeing as it really is. So all of this kind of compartmentalization of ourselves and the external. So now let's talk about the internal, the compartmentalizations of our programming of ourselves, parts of ourselves, which we see as impure or not perfect or not good enough. All of that is recorded in your DNA and is expressed epigenetically as we begin to form our personalities from the womb until the age of 7. This is when we are forming personalities. We take on the emotional programs of mother and father and our environment in order to form a survival strategy. And that survival strategy is what we call the personality, okay, the identity of a person. So in this case, we inherit so all of those personalities and the way that we hold psychologically emotions and programs in the body. This is how our body is instructing our genes to turn on and off in order to respond and to survive. When we have too much of contractive energy, fearful energy, self-destructive, self-hate, self-anger, as you know, we begin to deplete our primordial life force. So all of our creative infinite potential that is available essentially starts to deplete from the body. And so what happens as a result of that is that we inherit this misuse of energy down our ancestral lineage, and we repeat those patterns. When we begin to alchemize that and begin to embody self-love, a profound state of self-love, we also are instructing epigenetically the genes that we turn on and off. And it's been scientifically shown, and I will go into those scientific papers later on in this challenge to discuss the biological organic effect of love on the body. Okay, so what happens when we embody love in the physical body? There is a profound effect on the physical body that regulates everything from brainwave states to bioelectrical conductivity in the body to the regulation of the nervous system, to DNA being expressed in its most expansive, conducive form, to the balancing of your endocrine system, to a really strong immune system in your body, okay, to healing, faster recovery rates of illnesses, sicknesses, broken bones, you name it, okay? So The evidence is absolutely out there. If you are one that wants to research the scientific aspect of the emotions and the effect of the emotions on the physical body, there's plenty to support that. The important thing, more importantly, is that you research whether those things are true in your own body through your own self-experience. This, I believe, is the most valuable, and it is, in effect, the pursuit and the embodiment of this Holy Grail. Okay. So when we learn how to anchor love into the body, emotionally, psychologically, physically, the body begins to come into harmony internally with itself and with the greater whole. We come into harmony with our environment. Okay. So the other element of love is that love is the consciousness. It is the reconnection to the field of consciousness, which is emerging from us as we embody these integrated states. And finally, the water of life represents the sexual energy, this primordial life force, which holds DNA in order to literally anchor another living organism on this planet. But that primordial life force is usually misused. It is depleted. The human is wasting it, whether it's with pornography or the misuse of porn, or through the use of sexual energy from a lustful perspective. It just completely is a one minute of ecstasy, right, in pleasure, and then a complete depletion of life force, which is why the male experiences the petit mort, right? The little death, that essentially after that moment of ecstasy, the man is depleted of energy, falls asleep, doesn't have any more energy anymore, and has to wait time to be able to recover that energy. So in the practices of awareness, in using our primordial life force properly, which is to use the sexual energy as actual pure love, as opposed to a lust or depletion of that energy, this just for pleasure. The man learns how to embody the fountain of youth, the child, this Holy Grail. They begin to activate within their body a regenerative system rather than a depleting system that heals the body, that provides the man with infinite energy that can then be expressed in their creative form and in every possible way, right? So this is the thing. And so when we talk about the Holy Grail, we're talking about all of these different facets of how we are using this water of life, the representation of that water of life. Essentially, we are talking about the alchemy of the human life force into its most harmonious, balanced state of co-creation, where the human can move life force to the body in a very healing manner, and DNA is absolutely activated in that way. It is coming into its full expression, its highest symmetry and form of expression in order to create harmony inside of the body. So whenever we begin to tap into love in the physical body, we are changing the vibrational frequency of the body in a way that brings the body into its most optimum conductive state and regenerative state. And that is the fountain of youth. A good book for reference is Bruce Lipton's book on Heaven on Earth, I believe it's called, Heaven on Earth, where he talks about also the bliss molecule. I mean, I don't know if that's Greg Braden, or there's several people that have written books about this, and I will post them in the post challenge resources for you. If you want to go deep into that and dive deep into those, there's some wonderful literature on these topics that you can dive into. But essentially, the human body comes into its highest optimum state of regeneration. And we're going to explore that in this month of February as we dive deep into the mechanics of love. So that is the day 2 of our challenge. And so let's go into the meditative part, and then I'm going to close. Okay, so go ahead and ground yourself down to the center of the earth. Come into a state of complete relaxation and calm. Allow yourself to connect down to the earth and come fully into your body. Go ahead and visualize the bubble around your body. Go ahead and allow yourself to begin to cultivate this connection with your physical body, feeling acceptance for your body, every single part of your body. As you inhale deeply and exhale, go ahead and visualize that you're going to clear your energetic body from any kind of fears, anxieties that you might feel of feeling love, tapping into love. Go ahead and clear your first layer of your body, second layer of your body, third layer, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th. 11th, 12th, and 13th. So your 13 bodies right now are beautifully expanded. There are 13 spheres around your body. You are connected down to the center of the earth. And I want your attention to go only to your breath as you inhale and exhale. Allow yourself to come into as much stillness as possible. Let yourself quiet your mind. Go ahead and activate your crown. And as you activate your crown, go ahead and connect up to source. You're going to bring source energy down into your body and anchor it into the center of the earth. Activate the chakra underneath your body into the earth, underneath your feet. Open your root, your sacral, your solar, 6 inches wide. Your heart, about 4 feet. Your throat, 5 feet. Third eye, 6 feet. And your crown, 7 feet all around you. Allow your crown to embody the color of your highest expression in your crown. As you inhale deeply and exhale, you connect to that divine state of just pure being and pure observing. No thoughts, no emotions, just observing. Very good. Go ahead and allow yourself to come back into the room. You're going to open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, I want to welcome you back. It was such a pleasure to share with you today. This is day 2. We're going to have an amazing month. I'm so excited to share this information with you. I have a lot more to share. So I hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you tomorrow. All my love.